a couple of scientists claim that they have found the real reason that we have not encountered aliens yet and have not been visited by aliens yet. It's not because they're visiting us in secret or they're observing us from a distance. It's for another reason entirely. And it's a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock, a bit of a disappointment. But it's related to finding an answer to the Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is named after an Italian physicist called Enrico Fermi, who died in 1957, I think, or 1954. And he came up with this theory in 1950. So just a few years before he died, actually.
Yeah, 1954.
He died in 1954, thank you, yeah. So he was only about 49, 50 when he came up with this paradox. And he's famous for creating the world's first nuclear reactor. And he won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1938, I think. And he moved to America and became an American citizen. And it was when he was in America that apparently over lunch one day, he was talking to some of his fellow scientists, and they were talking about alien life. And he said, why haven't we been visited yet by aliens? How come we haven't found a trace of them yet?
Yeah.
And he realized that probability dictates that in all the vastness of the universe, with all the planets and with all the components for life being there present in the universe, there's just no chance that life does not exist on another planet, that Earth is the only planet in the universe that harbors life.
Exactly.
In which case, why have we not encountered alien life yet? It's designed to be unanswerable, essentially. Obviously, scientists hope to find an answer for it, but up till this point, no one's really got an explanation for why, statistically, we should have alien life, but in practice, we haven't encountered it yet. But these two scientists now think they've got a solution. They're astrobiologists from the Carnegie Institute for Science in Washington and from the California Institute of Technology, Dr. Michael Wong and Dr. Stuart Bartlett, who believe that we have not encountered intelligent alien life yet, and intelligent alien life has not visited us yet, because all civilizations basically get too large and too technologically advanced, and they either destroy themselves or reach a condition of homeostasis, which means that they reach a kind of maximum point of development, things start to fall apart, and they look inwards and say, right, how can we fix all the problems that we have? And basically, they stop bothering with space exploration, which is a bit of a pessimistic view.
Can I just say, I've got some problems right off the bat with this.
Okay.
So first of all, that's not a new answer to the Fermi Paradox. There have been several answers to the Fermi Paradox, and one of the most notable is the Great Filter. Civilizations get too big, and there's something that wipes us out. Our natural expansion inevitably leads to us nuking ourselves to death or something. That's not, that's not a new theory. And the other thing, why does it take all of humans' resources, like this kind of expansion mentality? Are we really like pushing towards space at the moment? Is that the source of our problems? I mean,
no, I don't think, maybe I misrepresented it. I don't think the theory is that space exploration is the source of the problem. It's that space exploration comes hand in hand with advanced technological development, but technology requires energy, and technology, the benefits of technology mean population growth becomes huge and probably unsustainable. And I think the idea is that when you have achieved an advanced technology in civilization, you create the environment where populations can grow exponentially, and the energy resources required to keep that technology going cannot be met by the natural resources that a society has to hand. And the idea is that this is because technology goes too far. And we're kind of seeing that already, right? I mean, we're going to run out of fossil fuels very soon. We're already concerned with best case scenario, for setting aside climate change and pollution, we need to find other energy sources because we're going to run out of fossil fuels. And imagine a society, this is what the scientists are saying, imagine a civilization that is hundreds of years more advanced than ours. Imagine the energy that they need to keep their incredibly advanced technology going. And they say either one of two things happens. Either that society collapses because they can't find a solution to their problems and they run out of energy, everybody fights themselves, society kind of descends into a medieval state of being because everybody's like Mad Max,
Sure.
everyone's fighting for the precious fuel and the precious food, and it falls apart, and you can't have the level of large civilization organization that you need for space exploration to be successful. Or the society survives,
Mm.
but the only way for the society to survive is for them to
Yep.
abandon unyielding growth, they
Yeah.
call, which is where you just keep growing and you grow beyond the ability to sustain yourself. And you basically stop society growing and say, we're only going to use the energy that we have, and we're only going to use the food that we have, and we're going to stop our civilization from advancing any further just so we can survive.
Maybe I've been browsing too much left-wing Twitter, Robin, but this almost seems like a veiled criticism of like late-stage capitalism almost. But there's some kind of species lesson that we can take away from this. I guess my question, though, a civilization a couple of 100 years in the future, the energy that they'd be able to harvest would be directly from the sun, I would imagine. Like solar energy would become cheap and efficient. So surely that is more than enough energy to kind of colonize the solar system, or even send probes to other star systems. So I don't know if you've seen, or anyone in the comments have seen, there's a Kurzgesagt video where they talk about making a Dyson sphere, which is, it's like a device that can directly harness the energy of a sun. It's like a device that is built around a sun.
It would probably be made up of lots of small machines that would be in orbit around the sun and harvest the solar energy. Yeah. So a popular and then somehow transmit it to a nearby planet. Yeah. Goodness knows how.
Yeah. A popular version of it is, like you say, a Dyson swarm, it's called. And they talk about the feasibility of it. And obviously it's heavily simplified to be a YouTube video. But it seems like it could definitely be possible in the next couple of 100 years to make something like that with automated machines on like Mercury. And it doesn't seem too far beyond the realms of possibility is all I'm saying. And I feel like if we can do that and find a way to transmit that energy, I don't know, that seems like we just have limitless energy.
I agree, but maybe what these scientists are suggesting is that before any civilization can reach that point where they're capable of building a Dyson sphere, they collapse. Think about, even Elon Musk would struggle to create a Dyson sphere at this point. He can get a mission to Mars, but after that, does even he have the resources to fulfill a vision of putting thousands, if not millions, of devices in orbit around the sun to harness the solar energy?
It's a good question. And yes, I guess before we see that, the way that things are going, maybe we'll kind of collapse before then. But I don't know. I don't know if I buy the idea that will of like endless expansion will be our undoing in terms of like as an answer to the Fermi paradox anyway. Because I could see us tackling the issue of always expanding and always needing to expand. That is a problem that we need to address as a society. And just to be okay to be like to plateau, just to accept that and that's fine. But I don't get why that translates to our innate human desire to explore. Why we would stop wanting to reach out and make contact with other civilizations.
No, I agree with you. I think you said it already, but this new, in inverted commas, theory feels very much like a timely theory that's arisen out of the events of the last couple of years and the emphasis that's been put on, quite correctly, on tackling climate change and on our depleted energy resources, and even the pandemic, where suddenly humanity is having a bit of an existential moment. And it obviously reflects our own history, where the space race, back in the 1960s, it seemed like we were going to conquer space, right? There was no end to the level of progress, and then suddenly it just stopped, and it stopped for economic reasons, and that was it. And now it's kind of reigniting, but it's definitely not as fast as it was back in the 60s. The rate of development, I would say. So I definitely think you're right that this is a very much a theory that's been influenced by the times we live in and by our recent history.
Yeah.
But there's some merit to it. I think it could explain why we haven't made contact, right? And I think the unspoken clause, the silent conclusion, implication of this theory must be basically what you've just said, which is humans would do it. There'll always be some people who want to go out there, and our society is so imbalanced that there'll always be some people who will have the resources to go into outer space. So why haven't alien civilizations done it? It may be, and this is depressing, it may be that this theory is correct and it applies to every other alien civilization that has developed in the rest of the universe up to this point, and we will be the first ones.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe we will be the first.
But also, I mean, I guess what they're saying is most civilizations are like humans in that we will always need to ever expand, and we will always need to try and do that. And that in itself will be our undoing. And that's why we haven't made contact, because lots of other civilizations are like ours. And the ones that aren't like ours are the ones without that innate sense of exploration. And they're just content to be on their planet and just chill out and to mong out to some snow patrol. And, and you know, I guess that kind of makes sense. Was there any research that went into this, or was this just a hypothesis that these scientists...
Well, this is it. This sounds very much like it's just a hypothesis. And it's not like they've done some deep, hardcore maths to come up with the statistics or anything. It's just a suggestion, a thought experiment. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thought experiment. It just means it's philosophy to a certain extent, more than it is science. One thing that I don't see mentioned very much is just the size of the universe, you know, and the universe is expanding, right? We know it's getting bigger, and the distances between planets, let alone solar systems, let alone parts of a galaxy, let alone galaxies, let alone galaxies on other sides of the universe, are literally, they're astronomical. They are huge distances that we just can't begin to comprehend. And the level of technological advancement you would need to cover those distances in any amount of time that is efficient, certainly within the lifespan of organisms, is so huge. Part of me thinks that maybe it's just too soon. Because if you look at the development of life on this planet, we have finally started exploring space at this point in our history. And the Earth is what, 5-6 billion years old? The sun.
Is this your kind of theory on the Fermi paradox, that it's an established theory, but we are the first? We're the first to get to this point.
No, I'm saying we might not be the first. What I'm saying is that I think it's reasonable to assume that we are not the first species to reach a level of technological advancement where we're exploring space, but that even if they've done it millions or hundreds of millions of years ahead of us, if they happen to be on a planet on the far side of a galaxy, on the far side of the universe, the amount of time it's going to take them to get over here to meet us,
it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Well, even not worth it. They might just be on their way. They're on their way. You know, it's going to take them a long time. So it might just be we're being too impatient, you know, because we've started looking at the stars and thinking alien life is a probability just in the last 200 years. And so we're like, oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And the other aliens are like, we're on our way. Just slow down.
And they're going to
get
here expecting to see dinosaurs and T-Rexes and stuff. And they'll be like, who the hell are you apes? What are you doing? Yeah. And then we'll be like, look, hang on. Jurassic World 2 Dominion's out. Let's watch that together. And that's how peace is made in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Jurassic World Dominion. I mean, you have a point though about peace, right? It may be that, and this is where this theory has a point. It may be that for a society, a civilization, to make organized outreach into space, you have to unify a planet.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think just realistically, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence is a global organization.
Yeah,
but
sure,
actually, but it's not actually a well-funded organization. It's a collection of individual scientists who happen to be working, and they share their information.
Yeah,
you know, they're not actually a big. They're not like the United Nations with a massive budget or a bureaucracy or anything in place. They're just individual scientists getting whatever money they can to fund their projects, and then they're sharing their research with other scientists around the world. They're individuals. So that's our attempt to make contact with alien life. So if you're going to really succeed in making contact with alien life, you need to send messages out, and you need to send ships out in every single direction. And, you know, all 360 degrees around the Earth, all however many millions of light years in every direction, right? So to do that efficiently and effectively, essentially, you need the whole planet to be behind the effort. You need everybody to say, yeah, we're going to do this. But going back to what you said about priorities, maybe by the time any civilization on any planet has reached a point where the entire globe is unified in peace and prosperity and a desire to work together and be happy, their priorities simply are that. And the job of maintaining peace and prosperity is enough that going out into space is just low on their list of priorities.
It's just a hassle, just a nuisance.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure if that's my favorite answer to the Fermi paradox. I'd be interested to know anyone who in the comments if they have a favorite answer to the Fermi paradox, or if you, Robin, if you have one that you're like kind of hoping for or hoping it's not the case. The really scary one to me, or the scariest one to me, is the dark forest angle of the Fermi paradox, which is basically the aliens are out there. And the really advanced ones that have managed to survive and become like type 1, type 2 civilizations, they know to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
And they don't make any noise. And they're probably listening to us being like, shut up right now. And if you make too much noise, there's some kind of, there's scary alien pirates out there that are going to come and blow your planet up, basically with a Death Star. It's a dark forest, basically. You imagine yourself in a dark forest. You don't know what's out there amongst the trees. And so you be quiet. You don't make a noise. You try and stay hidden. Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it in that sinister a way, but I think that's my favorite explanation so far. Is that they are out there and they know we exist. They're so advanced. They know how to keep quiet and keep hidden.
Yeah. The universe is like a quiet place, basically.
Yeah. And there's another theory that they're alien observers, that they're watching us and studying us and learning about us. I don't know if I could be so egotistical as to assume that any aliens really would bother to study us.
But an alien zoo thing, I quite like the zoo hypothesis. Yeah, people just come and visit us and gawk at us.
Yeah, I think
look at these apes.
I like that idea. Yeah. That every once in a while, some family on their holiday, their intergalactic holiday, swings by. We're at junction 5,732 on the intergalactic highway, and they stop off and say, "Oh, don't stop at the Earth services."
Some really dodgy roadside space zoo. They've got who is the Tiger King guy? They've got a space Tiger King alien, and we're in his kind of messed up alien zoo.
Basically,
I just sent a pandemic down there now. Yeah, watch them struggle.
And the alien Carol Baskin is just ruining everything for him. Yeah, I like that idea. I think that's more likely than anything else at this point.
So that's the conclusion. We're in an alien zoo run by what's his name? Joe something. Joe
Exotic.
Joe Exotic. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're in a Joe Exotic type alien zoo. I think what do you guys think in the comments? I think that's the most believable answer to the Fermi paradox.